Cross as well believe that ethnic identity occurs once an individual develops a sense of black consciousness. So there was some of that going on as well. And Kim primarily looked at Asian American identity. So there was quite a bit of work going on, but Finney really looked at multi-groups. So that was quite different. And Finney's identity, ethnic identity theory, it has three different stages of development. The first stage is the unexamined phase. And here we see that the individual has not really had a lot of time to consider their ethnic background or identity. They're not really looking at that very much. The second stage of identity is ethnic exploration. So that's kind of exciting because at this particular point, something is going on and an individual becomes interested in their ethnicity. There's no known reason for that particular trigger, but Cross believed that if someone had let's say a traumatic experience or some sort of a personal or social experience, they may begin to look at their identity, their ethnic identity. And of course, the third stage is acceptance. So ethnic identity happens when a particular individual accepts who they are, they completely connect with their identity, and at that point, ethnic identity is achieved. Right, next slide, please. So here it comes, accessing components of ethnic identity. You know, again, I mentioned that Feeney examined an extensive review of the literature, and she found that some of the research was qualitative, some of it was quantitative, some of it was established through the data was gathered through interviews, questionnaires, sorting tasks, and even drawing tasks as well. I think some of us may be familiar with some of those different kinds of tasks or ideas. But then Finney begins to raise this question of measurement and reliability. So because the measures were so varied across the board, she began to think, well, we need to come to some sort of an agreement on terminology, an agreement on conceptualization, and even an agreement on measures that are used to define ethnicity. One fascinating piece that Finney discovered is that in studies that included black folks, people of color, there are certain terms that weren't even included. So, for example, I found that kind of fascinating as well, because terms like religious affiliation, friendship, certain terms were not even applied. So again, this shows you, and I'm thinking, surely, you know, religious affiliation and a sense of community are important things, but, you know, depending on the theorist that was conducting the research, they didn't even use these particular terms. So again, this kind of created this need for an agreement on terminology. So Finney developed 11 different, I guess I would refer to them as categories or terms that she believes should be used across the board for all racial groups during any kind of research that is involving cultural, ethnicity, race, any kind of research of that nature. We should use these particular terms. So I'm not going to cover all 11 because of the interest of time, but I will pick out a few of them that I think are significant. Self-identification. This is really critical. So this is the manner in which an individual labels their identity, their ethnic identity. How do they identify themselves? What kind of a group do they see themselves fitting into? Attitudes was fascinating too. Attitudes really could be positive or negative, and I think we can probably relate to some of this, whether we want to admit it or not. This means that how does an individual see, what is their attitudes towards their own group? Do they have a positive attitude, like I'm proud to be a person of color, I'm Armenian, no I'm not, that kind of thing. So how do they, view their own group? Another was language. And because I'm I'm from Haiti initially, so a lot of this really fascinated me. And language, according to Finney, was significant because language was the most widely used assessment tool or assessment measure that a lot of the researchers used. And I wanted to dig a little bit deeper on that, and the rationale was that most adults or immigrants, or whether they're native people, immigrants, the majority of adults want their children to speak their native language. So I think that some of us can connect with that as well. And so here we are, the community college. Now this is my territory, right? I love the community college. Work there, love it, love it, love it. And how the heck does ethnic identity theory connect to the community college? It is so significant in this area. And primarily because a community college is a diverse population, right? Folks from all over the world attend the community college, very diverse. I think that we could use some of these techniques in our teaching and in our interaction with students. Leave a space for them to self-identify. So let them say who they are or how they see themselves in their own ethnicity. Avoid assumptions, that's a big one, particularly with mixed ethnicities or mixed race groups. You know, we can make assumptions about particular groups, and I think that's a real dangerous place to go. So we need to stay away from those kinds of making assumptions. Including diversity, I know it's kind of hidden, but I know it's back there. Including diversity in curriculum is really significant, whether it's a project. You know, students want to see themselves in the curriculum. If it's literature, is the literature connected to the actual student's ethnicity? You know, for years and years and years, a lot of literature was not necessarily connected to our ethnicity. So infusing that into the curriculum is significant. And finally, multicultural training is important. I think that all community colleges should have a requirement for multicultural training. And this is not for students necessarily, this is for the administrators, this is for faculty, staff, anyone who engages a student on that college campus should have some level of sensitivity towards different, ethnicities and so on. That pretty much concludes my presentation, and thank you for listening.
We'll take questions after 3 presentations.
Tueri Marshall, my colleague, will be the next presenter.
Thank you so much,
Professor Bill.
and thank you very much, Dr. Gaulee, for creating the space for discussion,
Sure.
for connecting theory with practice, putting theory into practice.